Council Information Center spokesman with the update from the ADO zone and the eastern Ukraine. Proszę pana Andrija.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Today, President of Ukraine, Petro Poroshenko, made a statement at the opening of the 11th annual meeting of Yalta European Strategy. He mentioned that it's important that Ukraine recognizes the European and Atlantic systems of security and the necessity to create and to develop a new security strategy in the world. The head of the state emphasized that the yesterday's decision of the EU on broadening sanctions against Russia was very complicated, but the European EU found an opportunity to demonstrate its solidarity and unity with Ukraine at the time when it has a lot of its own problems. It's a sign that Ukraine is very close to everyone, to every European country, underlined the president. And he added that the needs of Ukraine demand well-coordinated and efficient policy, not only of European countries, but of the whole world. That approach was demonstrated during the summit NATO in Newport. President of Ukraine informed about the plan for September 16 simultaneous ratification of between Ukraine and EU and in the Parliament of Ukraine and in EU Parliament. He told that never such a decision was approved in such a short term, and he thanked the President Martin Schulz, President of European Parliament. He also told that there is a strategy of reforms, Ukraine 2020, and we will spend these 5-6 years changing the country, and we will change Ukraine, having very important prospects for Ukraine membership in EU, because Ukrainians passed one of the most complicated exams in their life to become members of EU. Also, the President of Ukraine had a meeting with the President of European Parliament, Martin Schulz. As to the situation in ATO area, the situation is tense. During the day, ceasefire was preserved in general, but there was several cases when it was violated. We have no losses among Ukrainian military men, and the Donetsk airport was shelled by mortars from artillery and missile system. Yesterday at 8 o'clock in the morning on the block checkpoint near Stanitsa Luhansk, on the minor terrorist, a civilian car exploded and a woman died, and one Ukrainian border guard was wounded. During the day, last day, there were no major engagements with Russian-supported gunmen. According to the peaceful process of the President of Ukraine, 57 Ukrainian hostages were liberated. The work continues. We'll inform you about results. At the same time, we see that that Russian troops stopped moving out of Ukraine. There is a concentration of terrorists near Resipne and Pelagivka in Donetsk region. On the territory of temporarily occupied Crimea, on the field Nitka near Saki, there was a training of pilots of the North Navy. At the same time, there is a gunman in Mariupol, and Novazov districts become less active, and it's probably because there is OSCE mission deputy secretary of NATO, James Paturai, on security and foreign policy. He told that there is less of military men of Russian army, but also there is special troops, Russian special troops in Ukraine, and still there is about 1,000 Russian military men in Ukraine on the Russian-Ukrainian border, and there are about 20,000 of Russian military men. And also of district, there's a special equipped car that creates radio electronic interference and also taps mobile operators. During the week after the signed Minsk protocol on ceasefire, losses of Ukrainian military men are 5 men, and 3 border guards died, 1 military man of armed forces and 1 representative of National Guards. In addition to that, from heavy wounds got before the ceasefire was announced in hospital, 3 militarymen of Ukrainian armed forces died, but from the very beginning of ITO, 873 Ukrainian militarymen died and 3,275 got wounded. As to the situation in towns and villages in ATO and in Makivka, terrorist force patients of local trauma hospital to pay for treatment of the wounded people on the territory of Donetsk region, where occupied territory. 70% of mines stopped, and the main reason is there is no electricity, flooding, and railroads were damaged because of shelling and mining of gunmen. There is also metallurgy enterprises are not working well. In general, territories that are under control of gunmen, more than the majority of enterprises stopped, and there is difficulty to deliver goods between towns. There is less of food in local shops. In Luhansk, there is still no electricity, water, and gas and communication, despite ruined by terrorist local services, municipal services. They're trying to renovate infrastructure, and they prepare providing electricity, and they are working on the improvement of electricity grids. And on September 11, because of military actions in Luhansk region, and in critical state and demand study, about 171.6 thousand customers and 82.5 thousand households and apartments, 88,000 they have no gas, and partially 27 cities, towns that don't have gas, and fully 52. President Poroshenko spoke to François Hollande, President of France, yesterday, and he told they agreed that indicators of de-escalation in Ukraine is more withdrawal of Russian troops from the territory of Ukraine and liberation of hostages and control over the border, and with the participation of the president of Ukraine told that for good monitoring and verification, we need to enlarge the group of special monitoring mission OSCE and to improve the level of technical support. The group of EU deputies expressed thought that they're happy with the decision of France to postpone the decision selling Mistral ships, and they think about how to buy those ships and how to make them a part of the navy of rapid force of EU. Barack Obama, he told that he supports the EU on the issue of introduction of additional sanctions against Russian Federation, and he told that there will be more limitations against Russia from official Washington. Official representative of the White House, Joshua Ernst, he told that the goal of sanctions is to strengthen pressure on the Russian economy and for the isolation of Russian Federation because of the events in Ukraine. The head of Foreign Ministry, Georgia, Mr. Steinmeier, he supports the territorial integrity of Ukraine, and he told that it's necessary to use a ceasefire for political solutions in Donbas region. The head of Foreign Ministry of Sweden, Carl Bildt, he told that the parliament has an document on association with to ratify associative membership of Ukraine, Moldova, and Georgia, and Slovak Parliament will ratify the agreement on association between EU and Ukraine. Deputy UN Secretary on Foreign Policy and Security Policy, James Apodorai, he told that there is a loss of military men of regular Russian army in Ukraine. And this is all the information I have, and now your questions. More questions? I have a question. In internet, there is information that as allegedly National Guards, they kill those who would like to join a DNR. I even know who spreads that information. Please tell us. As always, information sources, so-called DNR and LR are working on that, but we have quite the opposite information. Yesterday, There was a successful shelling upon a Livy district where there was a part of Vostok Battalion, and about 20 people died. We have that information, but this is not a precise number. That's why the information about that National Guards kill their own friends, it's because they need to cover themselves. So this is a fake. So National Guards are in their units, and they are on the service. They keep defense, and they wish peace to everyone. Thank you very much. Any question? Question in English.
Okay. Yesterday, there were reports that the Russian army set up roadblocks in Strelkov, right outside the Crimea border. Is there any worry that there is going to be a third front in the war and that Russia is trying to connect Crimea to the Russian territory?
Thank you for question.
We know that terrorists, they plan to have a larger territory, to take control of larger territory, but intentions, we don't see that in practice. We have lots of checkpoints, and in the most dangerous directions. So we have very organized service, and our military men can stand any pressure, any attack from Crimea or from Mariupol. We have reserves, and we have intelligence, and so we know about intentions of our enemy. Everybody is staying on its point.
Чи є ще запитання, колеги?
More questions? If there is no question, thank you very much. Next briefing of